All right, all right, all right. Thank you so much for downloading. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for downloading. Thank you so much for downloading today's episode of Karl Buys Houses. My name's Karl Krenzel, your host here today at karlbuyshouses.com on the podcast, as well as Sell More Homes now on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me here today. What I'd like to share with you today is a little bit of information that I've gleaned from the web that I would like to share with you for just a few minutes. I promise not to waste your time or drone on. I'm getting a little bit better at that. Thank you so much for your comments. The housing market, sounds like maybe I've got coronavirus. I don't know what's going on, about how Southern Arizona schools here in Tucson are affected and what sort of plans they're making. How a Shark Tank judge was hoodwinked by $400,000 and how this could affect you if you're a real estate investor, a realtor, or a home seller. I'm going to make sure you know what happens so you don't fall prey to this happening to you. And then, of course, we're going to talk and we're going to wrap it all up with some of the buyers for your home. We're going to talk about the potential buyers for your home, the Gen X, the Gen Y, the Gen Z folks, the millennial folks who are looking to buy your home in the future. As we see the effects of the housing market starting to go ahead and be affected by the coronavirus, you'll see now red 29th, get it out, Karl. We've seen a significant drop in demand from home buyers and home sellers. Now, listen, guys, I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I said this would happen on KOLD 13 just a few days ago, that when you start to have people get scared, people stop making moves, people stop doing things. And that's what we're starting to see happen in Seattle. Let's just go ahead and read on. It says that Redfin's demand fluctuates plenty from day to day, especially in a single market, and this may only be a significant but short-lived reaction to the very first serious virus infection in the U.S. It could also be a more serious and affect the rest of North America. Here's something I think it's important for you to understand. We don't know how good or how bad this is going to work out to be. We don't know how this will end up, but one thing is certain, that if people can be terrified by this little amount of, I mean, any death is a bad death. Don't get me wrong. Any number of deaths is a bad thing. But when you compare the coronavirus to the flu, the regular flu, okay, yes, it's more deadly, but it's harder to catch. And you live in America, and odds are you're probably going to have a higher chance of getting killed in a car wreck today than you would of getting coronavirus. However, the media being what it is, spins everything up and people get scared. And rightfully so, because there is so much uncertainty. Let's read further. It says the markets are reacting differently. In Portland, Oregon had its first 3 confirmed cases last week, but the market manager there, this is talking about Redfin, by the way, reports that he hasn't seen much effect beyond a few customers asking to meet agents in private rather than in a coffee shop. Closings have mostly been on time. Some buyers have been putting their home search on hold in Tampa Bay and San Antonio, where the virus recently surfaced. In Seattle, now this is where I want you to pay attention. This is according to redfin.com. This is their blog. I'm not saying this, okay? This is Redfin saying this. So don't hate me, right? In Seattle, the reaction has been the strongest amongst sellers who worry about strangers entering their homes. This only started on Monday morning. 3 canceled their listings, and at least 1 buyer canceled an offer. Why is this? Why is it that you find in Seattle 3 homeowners canceling their listings and then a buyer deciding to cancel their offer? It's because they're afraid of what's going on inside the house. They don't know if those people have coronavirus, or the people who are coming into their home have coronavirus. That's why they're taking their homes off the market and canceling their offers. And this is happening in Seattle, where they have just the beginning of this. You see people stopping their home searches in Tampa Bay and San Antonio, where the virus first starts showing up. Now, clearly, it's too early to tell what's going to happen, but the long-term housing shortage is likely to continue. And if you can't build homes because you can't bring in, I was watching CNBC earlier today, an economist on there talking about how Western states like Tucson and Arizona, Arizona, Tucson, and all of them, we have lots of land, he said, in which to build. And that means our housing crisis is going to be easier here because lots of land to build. The problem is, where are you going to get the supplies from? Don't believe me. Go on YouTube for yourself. There's videos circulating right now about the docks in LA. They're not looking like they're full to the brim, buildings stacked to the ceiling. No, no, no. These Connex boxes are just few and far between. And these ships, they're not there. I'm not trying to spread panic here, but you have to ask yourself, as the coronavirus spreads, okay, this coming to us from biznow.com. This is another article I found. Biznow.com has an article that says, as the coronavirus spreads, real estate deal making has been slowed by the travel restrictions. Now, I don't know how many people are in Tucson, Arizona trying to sell property from people from areas that have been in a travel zone restriction. But the story comes from this article right here, where the Federal Reserve announced its first emergency rate cut since 2008, dropping the lower rates, and that fellows had a very large deal in Manhattan where an investor from out in Asia was supposed to fly in, and it doesn't look like it's happening, quote, anytime soon. It says, as it relates to that specific case, it's pretty much killing that deal. Yeah, I imagine. So you have real estate buyers who are postponing their buys. They are physically being prevented in some cases from traveling. Only just imagine. Just again, not trying to toss scaremongering or anything like that in here, but just imagine what it's going to be like if you have quarantines in America, in any part of America. Imagine if you had a quarantine in Skid Row in LA County because there's 60,000 homeless people there who have virtually no health care. And all of a sudden you have a virulent, pathogenic, airborne contagion spread. Man, oh man, it's not going to take much to overwhelm the hospital system in LA County. Could you imagine what it would be like if that happened here? Oh my goodness. Again, I'm not trying to say anything negatively or downplay anything, but let's just be honest here. I'm not entirely sure that Tucson, Arizona, or Pima County in particular is prepared for this. Let's take a look and see what they say about the schools. It says that News 4 here in Tucson reached out to schools across southern Arizona to see what precautions they're taking. Flowing Wells said the following, quote, we have been communicating with sites to review procedural steps and reduce the spread of infection like hand washing, social distance, covering coughs, and remaining at home with a fever or not feeling well. That's Flowing Wells. Let's take a look at over at Sunnyside. Sunnyside says, quote, our main priority is the health and safety of our students, staff, parents, and community. Well, let's take a look at TUSD. I mean, it's arguably one of the largest ones here in Tucson area, right? It says, quote, this district assembled a small interdepartmental team representing all major operational areas of the district to finalize a comprehensive plan for a potential district closure due to a potential or possible community outbreak of coronavirus. Says the TUSD also canceled a planned summer trip to South Korea as part of the Tucson Korea Ambassador Program due to the coronavirus. Look, folks, this is not something that's going to go away lickety-split. This is already affecting other industries like tourism, travel. I mean, did you just hear recently about this poor cruise liner that's stuck off the coast? They can't dock. Oh my gosh. Woo, this is out in California right now. They've got a cruise liner full of people that they cannot dock back into America simply because some of them are already testing positive. Let's see what they say over at Marana. Marana Unified School District said, quote, they regularly take preventative measures to provide a healthy learning environment for students and employees. Measures to prevent many illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. So far, I mean, I'm not trying to sound political here, but it seems like the only one that's even come close to being reasonable here is TUSD. I mean, let's take a look at Amphi. Amphi said the likelihood of closing schools is extremely low, but not zero. In the highly unlikely event the Pima County Health Department has to shut down your child's school, have a plan for who will take care of your child. And that brings us to why we're talking today. It is extremely unlikely that they have to shut the school down. But if they have to shut the school down, imagine the scenario, the repercussions that this is going to have on down the line. If you're a single mom, single dad, single parent, if you're out there taking care of kids, a guardian, right? Grandma, grandpa, taking care of kids, and you have to work to support yourself. And all of a sudden, the school gets closed, and they say you can't take your kid to school anymore. Well, now what are you going to do? Well, you got to stay home with the kid or something. That's going to be a tough thing to do. Tough choice for some people to make, especially if they're living one paycheck to the next, or if they're relying on a person's paycheck to help make up the difference. If you've got a 2-parent household, let's say, you got some kids and some kids have to stay home, and mom, dad, somebody stays home with the kids. So there's, some continuity of care, but now you're going to be suffering a little bit financially. That you can't tell me, after doing this for 23 years, seeing people in all kinds of situations where they get foreclosed over because they just lose a job. Could you imagine what would happen if you have a prolonged period of time where you have to start taking care of your kids and you're confined to your property? Oh, goodness. Let's move on to something a little bit cheerier, right? Shark Tank judge, victim of phishing scam, loses over $400,000. And this could happen to you. Amen. This could happen to you. So let's talk about it. This one comes to us from Realtor.com, the National Association of Realtor magazine. Coming to us, it was printed out on February 28th, 2020. So this just recently happened. Says that Barbara Corcoran, former real estate executive and TV Shark Tank judge, lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in a phishing scheme. A similar scam is targeting real estate professionals and their clients too. Now, if you've not heard about phishing, then this is something you need to really pay attention to. I'm not talking about going out with your grandpa or your kids, just going out and trying to catch fish in the pole. No, I'm talking about phishing, phishing. Phishing, try and say that and spell it fast, quickly, 2 or 3 times. Basically what it is where somebody's pretending to be somebody else so they can go ahead and get you to give them money. That's the long story short. So here's what happened. A person posing as Corcoran's assistant sent an invoice to her bookkeeper for a renovation payment. Corcoran is an investor in real estate and assumed the invoice was accurate. Her bookkeeper wired $388,700 to the email address. That's all it takes. Apparently, that's all it takes, is just emailing an invoice to your bookkeeper for a renovation payment and having your bookkeeper assume that it's okay, legit, and emailing it. That's it. That's all there is to it. No calls, no double checking. Didn't call up, somebody and, hey, is this right? No. Okay, just money right to them. Says the funds. Says the email was a fraud. The scammer had been imitating the assistant in the email, and the address was misspelled by 1 letter. That's all it takes. A fake email, missing it by 1 email letter. And that's how this scam works. And if you're in a real estate situation, if you're a real estate transaction, if you're buying or selling real estate, this is something you really want to be aware of. Be aware that this scam is going throughout the real estate industry and it's preying on home buyers and their down payments. Basically, what happens is skimmers will imitate or hijack the emails from a real estate agent or their professional, the lender, the attorney, or somebody else that's involved in the real estate transaction. And then they'll begin to go ahead and send you emails or fraudulent wiring instructions to send down payments or repair money or things of that nature. Buyers then will go ahead and transfer the money as directed, sometimes the entire payment without even thinking about it. Now, this is not a new thing. This is something that's been going on for a couple years now, and it's something you really have to be aware of. And the reason why I brought it to your attention today was simply because if somebody that we all regard, Barbara Corcoran, is a sharp, sharp cookie. She's a very smart woman. We all really love and adore her. But if they're suspect to getting taken, hoodwinked, made a mark of, well, guess what? You can get it done too. So be sure to watch out for this form of fraud. Let's step on to the next one and final part of today's post. Thank you so much. If you've been learning anything from this post today, would you do me a favor? Share it on your social media. Tell somebody about it. This is how I let people know about my podcast at karlbuyshouses.com. It's how I let people know about my website as well as my YouTube channel. And it's been very helpful to me that you subscribe, that you share, that you like and rate these, because that's more and more important these days in a more competitive world, to let people know how to reach me. So let's go ahead and jump in with the final test for today. What we're going to talk about is social media and how it's becoming the biggest factor in the new real estate market. Now, if you're a real estate investor or if you're a homeowner, let's say you're a realtor, there's a lot of people who watch my channel, and I am grateful for each and every one of you. And no matter where you find yourself in this entire spectrum of real estate, let's talk about how social media, very briefly, is the biggest factor in the new real estate market. If you want to, you could often think about this as the new way to look at things. I mean, back when I was a kid, I'm pretty young, right? I'm 19. I'm 50 years old. I was born, in '69, and back then television was pretty much the thing. NBC, CBS, ABC. We had the one little TV knob. We had to go in there with the needle nose pliers, and you had VHF and UHF with the 200 channels over the little spinny dial, and that was my channel back then. We didn't have cable. We didn't have VCRs until I was a teenager. And back then, right, ABC, CBS, and NBC, they were the go-to people. They were the people who made up all the rules and how they got all the attention. Well, nowadays, right, I'm fixing to be a grandfather here soon. And when my grandkid comes along, thanks to, praise the Lord, hopefully it'll be soon. I can't wait. Then what we're looking forward to is we'll see that the whole industry is going to change, right? You've got instead of NBC, ABC, and CBS, well, you got Facebook, Google, Snapchat. All these different social media avenues that people are working from. So let's see what this study comes from Forbes saying. Says that Ralph DiVergina says he's the president of Home Qualified, a digital resource for buyers, sellers, and realtors. So he wrote this article. Basically says, with technology headed into the forefront of the new real estate market and the typical buyer using the internet to search for homes, the internet is a prevalent factor in the home buying process today. That is absolutely true. 100% true. And if you're a home seller today, you've got to get this understood very clearly. Well over 90%, 95%, 98%, something like that, of all the home buyers today begin their search on the internet. And so it's critical for you to make sure that you have good pictures and a lot of other things that we talked about in yesterday's post. Let's continue. Many home buyers, it says, will search on social media for homes that match their specific preferences. This is key. Pay attention. Get out your notepad if you got one. Hashtags will help them find all the little niches that they're looking for. For example, quote, the hashtag farm homes, hashtag artist lofts, hashtag living room ideas, hashtag Brooklyn real estate. when you have all these little hashtags on your little posts, whether it be on Instagram, on Facebook, Snapchat, however you've got them, that's going to make it a lot easier for people to find your posts because that's what people tend to follow. As HGTV, for example, is so successfully made fixer-uppers look easy, social media has expanded on that notion as well, making real estate investing, quote, the cool thing to do. And that's exactly true, right? Let's read the article for just a second. It says millennials have represented the largest generation of home buyers in recent years. Combine that with a report by TransUnion that showed the number of Gen Z buyers actually doubled. Get that. The number of Gen Z buyers doubled from 2018 to 2019, with more than 300,000 Gen Zers taking out a mortgage by 2019. Who would have thought it? Who'd have thought it? Who'd have thought that 300,000 Generation Z folks would have took out a mortgage by 2019? That's an incredible amount of people, right? According to the survey findings by Pew Research, 79% of the 18 to 29% demographic use Facebook. What? Guess what? If you're 18 years old and using Facebook, you're probably old. I don't know what. Maybe that's rare. I don't know any 18-year-old that uses Facebook. I think they all kind of use Snapchat or something like that. Next, 67% use Instagram. Of the 30 to 49-year-olds, 82% use at least one social media platform, Facebook and Instagram being the prevailing favorites, right? Here's something to understand. If you're trying to sell your property here in Tucson, you're having at your fingertips a lot more information and a lot more power than your parents and my parents did. So if you're trying to sell your property, make sure you go ahead and use your iPhone and hashtags, good photographs, and use all the things you need to do to go ahead to get that property sold quickly, because these are the buyers who are looking for your home as well. Well, listen, guys, I appreciate you staying in there and watching this podcast as well as this live stream with me today. If you have any questions, by all means, shoot them to me. I'd love to hear from you. As always, have a powerful sales day. Take care, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.